It's about time that we talk some Dfyne. It's been a literal hot minute. I mean, when I say literally, I mean it's been forever since we talked Dfyne on this channel, which is absolutely positively unacceptable. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Dfyne is really taking over Instagram activewear. I'm seeing them everywhere. Every time I'm in the Explore, I'm seeing these girls wearing Dfyne. Their booties look really good. I'm just saying, like, the glute aesthetic, it's pretty prominent. So in today's video, I thought we would take the, well, new to me, Defy leggings and really dissect them. Let us see if it's actually worth your money. If you guys recall, I think it's almost been 3 years already since my very first Dfyne video. The first legging I tried was Dynamic. Remember that one? Wasn't a total fan. This is kind of right when they hit the market. They were new in the activewear game. Moving on forward, we tried the Ignite. That one I was like, wait a minute. Okay, I think they're onto something. They've really grown. Fast forward to today, their newest, most popular legging is the Defy legging. There's no denying that. There's no defying it. You guys already know how we do on this channel. We're gonna test these babies out at the gym. I have got here 2 leggings. I snagged the only 2 colors that were left, actually, believe it or not. These are notoriously sold out. I've been trying to actually review these leggings for the longest time. They're so sold out, I couldn't even get a matching set. So I'm rocking some Alpha Elite right now. I'll have the details of this bra linked down below, but it's dropping soon. I have the color Latte, very neutral, very light color. Then we have the polar opposite, which is Steel, more of a deeper, cooler bluish. So we're gonna do the gym test, squat test, sweat test, you name it. But before we hop into it, if you're somebody who loves activewear just as much as I do, you wanna keep up with all the trends, you wanna see what's new, what's out there, what's good, then definitely hit that subscribe button. Of course, we have brands like Gymshark, Alpha Elite, Paragon, Young LA, and Buff Bunny. Up next, we're gonna have some ONER Active. I'm gonna try like hell to get my hands on that new soft motion that they're restocking, okay? Don't hold your breath, it's gone south before. And I don't know if you guys have this on your end. This is a brand new feature to YouTube. They actually rolled out with a hype button. So rather than just liking a video, hyping a video will actually allow the video to circulate more. This is a great feature to help smaller creators like myself really get out there. This way we can build a bigger, better community. So if you happen to have that hype feature, go ahead and do your girl a solid and hit it. I am so curious to see what actually happens. Thank you. So let's go ahead and try these babies on. Off to the fitting room. This is what I like to call, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of legging. And what I mean by that is I'm starting to see the trends revert back to simplicity, meaning solids, practical fits, no bells, no whistles. Now, granted, that's not true for every brand, but I am noticing that the most popular pieces right now really are just the back to basics kind of pieces. This is very much a what you see is what you get kind of legging. So I have my true size small. I'm very happy with my true size. I don't know why I'm pointing. Okay, so we're gonna start with the touch test, talk about how it feels, and then work our way down from the waistband straight on down, talk about all the features, everything you can expect. So first and foremost, touching it feels very soft. When worn, you can feel a little more of that grit once the material is stretched out. It is mostly polyamide and very little spandex. In other words, polyamide really is just nylon. So you can expect 95% nylon. That's a whole lot of nylon and a little bit of spandex. To be honest with you, there's not a whole lot of stretch. There's more stretch long ways than there is horizontally. Right off the bat, I can feel how breathable these are. They're relatively thin, but they're not too thin where I feel like I'm gonna pop holes through it. This material being mostly nylon, wow, this is a rough and tough material that I can see myself getting gritty and shitty at the gym with. Shitty's a good thing. Getting shitty means I'm getting shit done. I do notice the material in certain lighting, like out in daylight, it does shine a little bit, but when I'm in a gym setting or low lighting, it kind of goes away. So I'm not really concerned of overly shiny leggings. I want to throw that in there because a lot of people are like, they can't really tell if it's a shiny bitch or if she's muted. So I gotta say, right off the bat from the touch test, it's soft and comfortable on the skin. Yes, it is, but you can feel that level of quality where it's like, I can get to the gym and not feel like this material's too risky, gonna pill, gonna rip, none of that. It's not that cool to the touch, cold plastic feel. I like having a level of grit, especially in my seamless leggings. Like it better have some functionality to it, or else I'll just wear my freaking yoga Pilates leggings for the Pilates that I don't do. In terms of first putting them on, straight out of the package, getting them up, it was relatively a breeze. The only thing I noticed is right around the thighs when I go to pull them up around the thighs. As you can see, like I said, there's not a whole lot of stretch. That was the most difficult part. It didn't actually make it hard to get up. It was just something that I had noticed, a little extra effort right around here. But other than that, the waistband's sitting perfectly. I don't know if you guys noticed, but this is extremely boxy. This waistband, there is no taper to it. Zero, none, friggin' no. It is a heavy rib, but it doesn't actually have a curve to it, which in turn will actually like cinch in the waist. I know a lot of brands love that look. They're like, oh my God, don't you wanna have the hourglass look? That doesn't happen on my body. What they wanna do is snatch the waist, and what it does for me is it's just too tight and I end up just bulging over the sides and I'm not happy. I'm actually into boxy fits now. I feel like it's more flattering on my midsection because it's not pinching in too much, it's not uncomfortable. So overall, this waistband, it's sitting mid to high rise on me. If you have a long torso, you're mostly looking at more of a mid rise. I have to say, it's a very comfortable fit. It's not overly tight. Look at that. Okay, let me actually test something out real fast. It's about the same stretch, waistband versus leggings. They actually went with 2 logos on this waistband. One was just not enough. They went with one right on the hip, vertically. Then they went right on the back of the waistband, horizontally. They want to be seen, and there's nothing wrong with that. To be honest with you, it does work. Because like I said earlier, when I'm scrolling on social media and I'm like, what legging is she wearing? I will see this Dfyne right here. It's eye-catching. It's white against whatever color you choose. It's not tonal at all. They want to be seen. And okay, I get it. That's branding yourself. Only a little bit concerned on the quality. Being that it is a print on a ribbed material, you already know all about that, right? It'll eventually make its way up. And right here, when I go like this, I do feel a little bit of lift, a little bit. So I don't think the logo's really gonna last that long. And I couldn't help but notice right on the back here, on both leggings, there's a little crookedness. It is tilted ever so slightly. So, like it's crooked. You guys already know how I feel about printed logos. I'm genuinely not a fan, especially when it's on a really nice seamless legging and on that heavy rib. I always feel like you want to put like a heavy duty gripped logo or some embroidery, whatever the friggin' floats your boat. But the print, in my opinion, the worst thing you can put on a ribbed waistband, like end of story. Being that this is mostly nylon and you have a printed logo, if this touches any heat in the wash, you will regret it. Nylon's mostly plastic, so this will really affect the quality of your leggings, just so you know. Right at the bottom of the waistband is a pretty heavy duty seam. I actually really like when brands do that on seamless leggings because the seam above the glutes, being that it's thicky, it kind of does its own contour. Pinches in the material so that the glutes, like I can kind of see it right now in the mirror. Yeah, okay, I do see it. The glute kind of pops on out better. Rather than the seamless into the seamless band, like seamless on seamless, it's a nice smooth flow, but it can elongate the glutes. Nothing wrong with that, but nowadays I've been into V-seams all the way. I've been into the glutes being a little arched, a little definition it adds to the upper glute. And it just honestly gives me a little bit of a shelf back there. Otherwise, I wouldn't really have. It pouts out the booty very nicely. The peak on this V waistband sits a little bit low, but it's not unusual with the activewear I've seen these days. A lot of it does sit a little bit low right here. I really think that the lower it sits here and the higher it sits up here, the larger your glutes are going to appear. It's that great illusion. I love it. Now, for the juicy part, let's talk about this actual scrunch. I actually really like how Dfyne took the route of doubling up on their scrunch. What I mean by that is when you actually look on the outside of the legging, you can see the heavy duty scrunch on the outside. You're well aware there's a scrunch because you see the wrinkle coming out from the seam. That makes you already go, okay, that's gonna be a pretty dramatic scrunch. But then they took it an extra step and internally they added in the elasticated band along the seam, which allows it to actually stretch and sit into the glutes better. Now that I know all that, it explains a whole lot. Dfyne's a booty brand, like there's no denying that. Nothing wrong with that because who the doesn't want their glutes to look good? So not only is the scrunch very effective, but it's actually very comfortable as well. That little bit of elastic stretch in there goes a long way. It doesn't feel stiff where it's not moving with your body. This scrunch is absolutely doing its thing. It's making you look hot, but it's also not stopping you from getting a comfortable workout. Gone are the days where I would wear those like really tight cotton thongs. Some scrunches feel like that. When I first started wearing thongs in life, I didn't know what I was looking for, and I would go for these like freaking cotton thongs that would feel like such a wedgie.
Oh, please, have mercy!
And I don't want to feel like I have a constant wedgie at the gym. So this scrunch is extremely comfortable. And not to mention, because it sits really well in the glutes, it looks like the glutes are just swallowing up the legging. It doesn't look artificial, it doesn't look fake. You don't see a bunch of wrinkling coming outside the glutes. It doesn't have a cheap look. It has a very effective, efficient, and honestly, a very polished look. Let's go ahead and move on to the front really quick. What do you guys notice when I do this? Okay, so say I'm posing, trying to get a good shot for Instagram. It gets a little wrinkly. As you guys can see in the seated exercise, a lot of that material does wrinkle and gather around the groin. Wherever the hips are hinging, you can expect a little material gathering. I think a lot of it has to do with the seam. Okay, it's being divided from the rest of the fabric. So it's dividing two different materials. You got the rib and then you got the thin body of the legging. Because it's dividing it off, you can see where it actually starts to just wrinkle right under the seam. It's really got nowhere to go, put it that way. But after standing up normally, it smooths itself out. You don't have to sit there and move around the material. It'll pretty much make its way flat again. So it's not that it's too big for me, because it's certainly not. I would not want to size down. I would not be able to size down. I don't think I'd be able to really get these on comfortably. And I do believe it would be a lot sheerer than it already is. Because keep in mind, being that this is thin and breathable, what does that usually mean? When a material makes your glutes look so good, it's breathable and it's lightweight and it's thinner, that usually means it's not fully squat proof. Not many brands are squat proof. So it's not personal to Dfyne. This is just how it works. But wearing a nude seamless thong, which I did with these workout clips, if you're in gym lighting with a nude seamless thong, you should be a-okay. The length's a little long on me. When I try to shimmy this material up, it does not work. You can't shimmy it up and smooth it. That extra material will end up at the groin. Speaking of groin, it depends on how I'm standing, whether or not I get the dreaded CT. It's kind of like a soft camel toe. It's not an aggressive, definitive camel toe. Definitely I don't feel it at all. In fact, Bae had to tell me that it was there. It's like a very obtuse W. It's just slightly. It's just a little bit there to poke you and just be like, hey, remember me? Now I am religiously wearing thicker padded underwear. Ever since thicker padded underwear became a thing, I don't look back. I'm sorry. I'm gonna make a video of what undies to wear under your leggings, because going with the thicker fabrics really helped a lot. For a while I was going with Paragons, but then I switched over to Young LA's because it wasn't as thick. It's great to wear thick undies to avoid the camel toe, but if you wear too thick of undies, you start to look like you are wearing a maxi pad. Who wants to look like that when you're wearing skin tight leggings, okay? Come on. Okay, this ain't the 60s. My mom has told me one too many stories about how they used to actually have to like put a pad on with a belt. Like, thank God I don't live during that era. Are you kidding me? We take our modern conveniences for granted. I feel like with this legging, it's entirely consistent in the hold. So I'm getting a moderate support around the waist. And I'm also getting that at the legs too, the glutes, everything. So everywhere you go on this legging, it has the same similar amount of grab and hold. I will say low to moderate to be safe. It's not gonna give you a high intense support. Check it out on the treadmill. You can still see me jiggling around a little bit. It's not cellulite friendly either, so it's not gonna really smooth you out. So overall, I have to say I'm very, very pleased with the amount of support I'm getting here. The glute definition, I actually really appreciate the fact that it doesn't slide either. They're really good at that, especially you might look at the wrinkling and you might go, ooh, that's a sign they might be slippery and slide. First of all, no, I don't feel any slipperiness in this material. I really don't. The scrunch doesn't shift. The overall legging isn't moving down when I walk or I jog. It's staying put even with hip hinging movements like deadlifts, squatting where your knees are bending. It's not pulling fabric anywhere and everything stays just where it's placed. So I have to hand it to them. I think they did a great job on the construction of this legging. The seam quality on here is really good. Nothing's loose, nothing's fraying, nothing's crazy. I feel like the durability in the fabric and the seams are on point. Like, look at it. This direction's not good. This is gonna give me an impingement. If you check out at the ankle though, I actually like that they did this. They added in a tiny little rib cuff. As long as it's not tight or leaving any weird marks, I'm good. And it's not. It's very, very comfortable. Let's circle back to the material real quick and talk about the sweat test. If you are a heavy sweater, there's a good chance you're gonna see the sweat through these leggings. Whether it's the dark or the light pair. Even though it's very breathable, it doesn't dry the skin completely right away. like normal breathable wicking leggings do. It'll keep a little bit of that wetness there. It still dries in a good manner, in a good amount of time, as long as you're not continuing sweating. So for example, you're hitting that Stairmaster, girl, and you've been on it for like an hour straight and you're just profusely sweating. You're just like I would be. Yeah, you can expect that sweat to kind of build up on itself after a while, but if you're just perspiring lightly, then it will wick just fine. So not perfect, but good enough. So guys, final thoughts. You're probably asking yourself, well girl, like what legging is this most like that you've personally tried? Straight up, Young LA's Curve. That is the first thing I thought of because it's got that similar construction. I specifically said that was my favorite Young LA legging of all time, and it still is. Okay guys, so my final thoughts. Pros and cons, here we go. This is, of course, is just my opinion. And my preferences in activewear in general. I love the waistband comfort. I love the overall compression level. Not too high, not too low. I like the simplicity. To be honest with you, no crazy contour, no patterns, no nothing. Kind of just a get-her-done legging. I absolutely love, 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 love the scrunch in general. This whole thing's working back here. The only couple things I'm not in love with are the printed logos. Of course, I wish I didn't get a weird little W camel toe. And I do wish it was a little more cellulite friendly and the wrinkling when you move. But looking past those minor things, overall, there's way, way, way more pros than cons with this legging. So yeah, I think that they nailed the functionality and simplicity of the legging while also focusing on the parts that are pretty important depending on who you are. Like for me, I think glute aesthetic when I'm working out, especially doing leg day, is important. I do like to see the definition of my glutes. Thank you very much. What are our thoughts of the Dfyne Defy legging? That's kind of hard to say, is it not? Dfyne Defy? My message to Dfyne is you guys are easily cementing yourself into top tier status, and I love to see it. I think they're very deserving of that, actually. To be honest with you, my first impression of them not being so good, and then fast forward to the second time and the third time trying them and liking them more each time I try them, that's a good thing. If they're staying the same or they're getting worse, that's a red flag. And honestly, nothing but green flags here. Very much excited to try more of their pieces, perhaps some sports bras, some shruggies, whatever I can get my hands on next, I'd be happy to review it for you. So comment down below, let me know, did you find this video helpful? Do you want to see more Dfyne? Because if that's a yes, I need to know. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button on the way out. And if you haven't used up your 3 hypes a week, I'd be flattered if you hyped up this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you and I will catch you in my next video.